Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Jay, and this is my Diecast Creations channel. In this video, you're going to see a recap on my entry for the Gaslands UK December 2020 Car of the Month. This is what we started with. It was a Hot Wheels Phaeton and a camper trailer off of a dollar store bits thing. Just a dollar store kit. Basically, the sponsor this month was Mad Cars Green Miniatures, and they chose the theme, a festive theme with a festive female and a present. Those were the two stipulations. So I didn't really have any figures. I did have some little Star Wars things, and Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker here became the centerpieces for this build. And then I figured I'd give it a little bit of a dark twist by having them deliver Darth Vader's head as a present. That's kind of weird. Given that the storyline of Star Wars, actually they couldn't kill each other. I figured I'd do an alternate timeline kind of thing here, where they ended up in the wastelands, and you know, Luke wasn't having it anymore. So I went to the Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Tree is a treasure trove, really. They had all these Christmas bits, so I figured I'd pick up a few, and I mocked it all up, and this is what happened. So at this point, the car is primed. I started doing a little bit of weathering. I just primed it black and started weathering it with the Rise of Rust here and some Apple Barrel Brown. I did hit the exhaust pipes with the lead belcher, and then put the Rise of Rust on top of it, and it gave it that effect. I ended up having to go down to the game store over here, and I picked up 2 extra Games Workshop paints. One of them was Valhalla Blizzard, the other one being Sterling Battlemire. So they're a bit thicker. The Blizzard is obviously the snow that you see here. I know that there's ways to do it cheaper, but I was kind of on a time constraint, and I just wanted to get something that I could get done, within the next day or two. So I didn't bother mixing up the concoction that you need to make snow, right? So it was just easier for me. I know I paid a couple extra bucks to get the paint, but we got it done. And I actually had got one of those Hot Wheels Santa sleigh things, and cut Santa's hat off and put it onto Leia, making her a little more festive. And I cut the present box out of there, and I stuffed it in the seat with her so that it looks like she's holding some presents, So these are basically some shots that you see as the progress goes on. As I'm building it, one thing leads to another, and I started to put the snow and the mud on there, and I dry brushed a bunch of weathering and dirt and stuff like that, and it just needed a little bit more of something. So I broke out Citadel's technical paint, Blood for the Blood God, and I put that as if the present box that's showcased there was, not to get too gory, but the body of Darth, and it's leaking blood out the bottom, and the head is kind of skewered on there, and it's dripping down the sides of the box and down the sides of the trailer and onto the wheels where it kicked back up. So that was just an effect. I actually ended up dry brushing over the snow and over the mud, dry brushing the blood in there to give it that wet look. I did it while the paint was still wet. And then there was just some blank spaces, and I figured I talked to Colin Harvard over there at the Gaslands UK page and sent him some of my progress shots, and he had a few suggestions. So I decided to implement as much as I could in the time that I had left. And one of them was making these little present boxes that I put under the tree. They were actually made out of one of the characters that I got in a dollar store kit. It was just, plastic that I cut up into squares and then painted, each with a different color. It's you got to use your imagination when it comes to crafting, right? And I think that goes across all forms of crafting, and why we do this is to keep your imagination growing. So these are just some basically final shots. I had found a machine gun that I had in my bits box that I got at another store, a hobby store. I got them for like 20 cents each, and I made the back of the trailer there with some, they're not toothpicks, but they're like hobby sticks or whatever you want to call them. And yeah, it all just came together. It takes time when you're doing these things, and you got to really take your time and be patient with the process, but also think outside the box, because if you don't think outside the box, then you're just going to have a cookie cutter build that everybody else is doing something similar. And you want, when you're entering a competition, you want your builds to stand out. You have to find something that makes it pop, right? So when I talked to Colin, he had suggested that I go heavier on the slush and stuff that was kicking up off of the car, and I think that really put the touch on it. It really put the touch that this thing was running through the mud up into the mountains and coming back with the tree. That was the lore there. They went up into the mountains to get a tree because in the wastelands there were no trees. So on the way back, they ran into Darth Vader and they had a battle. They ended up offing him and brought him back as a present to the people with the tree. And blah, 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 blah. You got to use your imagination here. And it got a little dark around Christmas time here when I was building this. But, I'm glad that I did it, because I don't do these kind of builds all the time, and it worked out. It really did work out. I ended up, I've been competing in this competition for 6 months at this time. And when I first started, I said if I make the top 3 at all, it was worth it. And I ended up finishing second place. This is the build that I lost to, that took first place. It's Molinaro Dominique. He did a tank girl rendition of what she would be driving in the wastelands, I guess. I think that's more of a UK thing. I don't really know much about Tank Girl, but he did a hell of a job. Great execution, man. So to wrap up, this is basically what we started with. It's a Hot Wheels Phaeton, kind of hot rod, and a camper that came out of a truck and trailer dollar store thing, from the dollar store, Dollar Tree. And this is what we ended up with. The whole rig didn't fit on my little turntable thing, so I split it up for you guys, but this is a 360 view of my finished work. The rear wheels came off of a Matchbox, I forget the name of it, but it's one of those army buggy things. And then I wanted to give it a nice stance, so I took a set of 5 spokes that came off a Trans Am or something like that, and I threw that on there. The wheels on the trailer came off of not a Volkswagen, El Camino, one of those super El Camino custom things with the big jet engine on the back. I just didn't like the dollar store wheels. They were kind of cheap looking, and they ended up getting packed full of snow and blood anyway. But basically, you see what ended up being the final product here, and won me second place and a nice prize from Mad Cars Green Miniatures, based out of Poland. Make sure you go check those guys out on the Facebook and on their website. They got some really good stuff. I'm still waiting on my package, but I know that with COVID and everything, shipping is kind of a big deal right now. So being patient, but definitely go check out their website and support the sponsors that put up the prizes for this competition on the Gaslands UK page. I can't thank those guys enough. I do want to also add that I want to thank James Hall and Adam Plumstead for what they've done. I haven't only been around for a few months, but watching those videos and getting into this competition helped me through the whole pandemic thing. So I really appreciate that. All your efforts don't go unseen. If you guys like what you saw today, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be on our way to almost 50 subscribers at the time of this video going out. And when we hit 100, there's going to be a special event. So stick around. Thanks for your time.